Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. We're going to talk about a quite clear, blatant anti-white approach within the NHS in London. Basically, if you're white and English speaking, you're not important. It doesn't matter what's wrong with you. You have to wait so that non-whites and non-native English speakers get treated first. The triage now being based on whether you're British or not based on your need. And why? Well, who knows? They claim it's to save money. I think it is just simply they don't want to be seen as in any way racist, so they treat these people first. People who often have never contributed a brass farthing into the system. Often people who aren't even supposed to be in the country, but who get priority treatment based on the fact that they're foreign. Wow, what a world we live in. But these hospitals in London are prioritising, without doubt, these patients who don't speak English, and they're prioritising them for care, while native and fluent speakers are pushed very much to the rear. Imperial College Healthcare Trust, which owns 5 hospitals in London, is guilty of this, and it pushes patients who require interpreters to the front because, it gets them out of the way. Well, first of all, I hope the patients who require interpreters are paying for their own interpreters. I'd hate to think that the NHS is paying for foreigners to have interpreters. That's not the NHS's job. They turn up and they can't speak English. Do you know what? Tough shit. They can pay for an interpreter, and until one turns up, they wait. And I don't care how bad they are. We've got to look after our own first. We're going to say that English children die because some foreigner who shouldn't be here is waiting for an interpreter and nobody can be treated until the interpreter turns up, because that's what's happening. They're prioritising. Now, I would suggest that this is actually illegal. I would suggest that prioritising people based on colour and ability to speak English would be illegal under the 2010 Equality Act. Plus also breaking the Hippocratic Oath, first do no harm. Triage exists for a reason. Treat on the basis of need, not on the basis of politics, for example. How does this hospital justify this in any way, shape or form, either ethically, morally or legally? I do not know. A patient spilt the beans, saying it's a clinic, so you go in, but you expect to wait a while. Fair enough. But when someone behind you is pulled forward simply because they can't speak English, it leads to a lot of resentment. And of course, this only heightens and increases the racist problems in this country, because it doesn't actually make people feel as though everyone's in it together. And you can, say, oh, but this person is waiting for his interpreter. He may have to wait an hour. Well, so? Literally, so? It's not good. Now, this has been criticised by Robert Jedrick, and he's the former immigration minister, so he knows where he's talking about. And he's saying it's wrong. It would never have happened. It has happened. It should never happen. And he's written to the hospital demanding answers. He wants to know why they're doing it, who's responsible, who's signing off on it. I don't know if they'll get an answer, but I presume at some point that this must be taken up. This is a very highly emotive, highly charged issue. Now, Imperial have done an initial non-answer response, the sort of thing you expect, the political non-answer, because they don't want to tie themselves down. They've been caught out and they're embarrassed. And so they're giving this non-answer, which I will read because I've got it here, because they're embarrassed about it. It says, "We are committed to responding to the specific needs raised by any of our patients." Well, one of the needs being, sort me out, I don't want to have to wait while Abdul behind me is waiting for his interpreter. She said, every patient has the right to a professional interpreter. Yes, they have the right to pay for one for themselves, for a start. They don't have to have one provided by the state. That is not a legal or human right. There is a human right to medical care, but not to interpreters. And if you are being told you are being denied immediate medical care because somebody else who is unable to speak English is getting it, then that is quite wrong. So it's a non answer, isn't it? And of course, that's as far as it gets. They're not going to respond in kind. They're not going to do anything or say anything that makes it look worse than it is. But how bad is it? It's quite blatant anti-British, anti-white racism. Now, I would suggest that since they're in breach of the law, that all future and further and with immediate effect, no funding from the NHS. They should get nothing from the NHS, and the NHS should close the hospital and fire everyone in it. Blame the management. Any nurses and doctors and things, move them to another hospital. Close the hospital down. Fire them all. And then bring in a whole new team from scratch. Get a team in that aren't racist, that aren't prepared to put natural native British people to the back of the queue so that they can prioritise Johnny Foreigner. Johnny Foreigner has got it far too easy in this country, I think. We are paying the tax and they are benefiting. They're not paying the tax often enough. Some are, not denying, but a lot of them aren't. Why are these people unable to speak English? You see, if they're here for a job, they must surely be able to speak English. If they're not able to speak English, they're not here for a job, are they? And therefore, parasitically using our NHS. It's a simple equation. If you can't speak English, you ain't working. You're a parasite. We need to do something. If you go abroad, you have to have medical insurance. I bet these people don't. And even with medical insurance, you tell you what, you ain't taking priority. Why are we mugs every time? This needs to stop. And anyone who goes into the hospital and sits there and watches as someone else goes past needs to stand up and make a stink about it and say, why are you anti-British? Why are you racist? Why am I not being treated? Why is this one being treated over and above me? I'm here first. Where's my doctor? And make the big thing and continually do it day after day after day. Never let them go down. Never surrender. Always fight. Make it happen. Bring the fight to them. They'll get sick of it. The nurses and doctors and whatever will get sick of it, and the management will have to deal with it. Or fire the management, and that's the easiest way. And keep firing all these anti-British, anti-white, racist bastards that run these big organisations. They hate us and loathe us, fine. They can fuck off and find another job. They should not be being paid by the state if they're so clearly racist. Anyway, I'll stop my rant. Thank you very much for listening. Do let me know what you think on this. But until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.